Good evening, Facebook. It's your girl, Lanisha, author, writing mentor, founder of an education website. You guys should know by now what the name of it is, but just in case I have to remind you, I have founded the Pretty Geeky Kids Club, which is a holistic approach to fundamental learning, and we provide solutions that yield results. Not only are we catering to the child by providing access to online resources, but we are also catering to the parent by meeting you guys every single week to talk about issues that should be prevalent in the conversations that we're having in our households. If we're not talking about them now, then we're going to be talking about them at some point in the future. And tonight I'm super excited because I am bringing on the camera with me the first male to join that I have been rocking out since November 2017. So obviously you guys know that by now I've switched it up just a little bit with the new year. I've been having somebody come join me every week, and we've been talking about different issues. The path to STEM. We've been talking about taking the mask off bullying. Hey, Miss Cheryl. We've been talking about a lot of different things. And tonight I am introducing to you guys Mr. Mandrake Miller, who is the Assistant Vice President and the Dean of Students for Tuskegee University. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Miss Sherry. So he should be joining us hey, Kelly. He should be joining us in just a second. Actually, you should see him now. I'm super excited about having him on. Again, this is the first male that I've had join me on this live challenge or this live. Hey, Shaquana. And I'm excited. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring him in. As you guys are joining the live, please feel free to speak. Remember the rule. Don't come in the house without speaking. When you see value in the video, please like it, share, comment, tag somebody. Mr. Miller, I think your camera is sideways. Whenever you come into the building, please say hello and share with someone that you feel like could use or could benefit from this information. Thank you, Shaquana, so much, Mrs. Miller, for introducing me to your husband. And she is the sole reason why he is joining us tonight, why he is kicking off the first male on our series. So I'm excited. So without further ado, Mr. Miller, can you please introduce yourself to the viewers?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mandrake Miller. I currently work in higher education. I've been in higher education now for about going on 10 years. I'm truly passionate about this work. And just first, before I even say that, Lanisha, thank you so much for having me on this evening. You're doing some amazing work, and I'm excited to be a part of this journey.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. But again, been in higher ed now for about 10 years. I worked in several different areas within higher education. I currently am the Dean of Students at Tuskegee University, in which I oversee several different components within the Division of Student Affairs. And I'm just excited about this work that I'm doing. So thank you for having me today.
Good. That's awesome. So I want to make sure that everybody heard that. He is the Assistant Vice President, the Dean of Students at Tuskegee University. I think is awesome. I think that it deserves a round of applause. I saw that recently you were speaking at Morris College.
Right, Morris College, which is my alma mater.
And I saw people sharing it. I saw quite a few people saying how awesome you were. So before we really jump into your interview, I want you to share maybe the most powerful part of your message that you share with the guys at Morris College.
So actually, you know, I had a chance to speak with the young ladies and the young men from Morris College. And the biggest piece that I wanted the students to understand was that basically you are Morris College and you can compete with the larger universities. Morris is a smaller school, and I wanted to encourage them that they have what it takes to compete with the world. You know what I mean? And so I think a large part, when I look at education, I believe that it doesn't really matter where you come from. It matters what you do with your education. And so I wanted to share with them that the knowledge that they're getting from Morris College can take them anywhere they want to go. You know, I share this often, and it's not to like boast or brag. When I got to Tuskegee, I was told that by the historian of the university that I was the youngest dean of students in the history of the school. I came from a small college with about 1,000 students. And so I share that to say that education is very powerful. You take it, you take the education and you make the most out of it, and you take it to the top, take yourself to the top.
I love that. I love that. It's not necessarily where you get your education, it's what you do with it. I think that's a powerful message. And I think that has a lot. I think that's very impactful. One, because I've spoken with people who feel as though they should have gone to bigger colleges, or they should have gone to PWIs instead of an HBCU just because of notoriety or the size of the school. And I think it's a very important message that you share, that it doesn't necessarily matter. It's all up to you and how much you're willing to do and the work that you're willing to put forth to get you to that next level. So I'm so glad that you mentioned
Absolutely.
that. Now, tell me about your journey. I think you went to a school that was smaller, so we know that. I think you went to Morris College, right?
Morris College.
Did you go to Morris College?
I did.
Okay, so tell us a little bit more about your background and what it's taken to get you to Assistant Vice President and Dean of Students.
So at Morris College, I double majored in sports and recreation administration and also Christian education. Initially, I went to school because I wanted to teach K through 12. And so I tried K through 12 for about a year, and that wasn't the path for me. But one thing I did know, and I think K through 12 was great, it just wasn't the path for me, which leads me to also say that it's important that students, even in K through 12, begin to find their passion, begin to find the things that they're passionate about. One of the things that I knew that I was always passionate about was people. So I knew that I enjoy working with people. I just had to figure out in what capacity. So I was blessed to be able to work at Livingstone College, which was my first position in higher education in North Carolina. And so I started at Livingstone College. About 6 months into that position, I knew that I wanted to be a college president. You know what I mean? And so I knew that I was passionate about people. I knew that I enjoyed the work. And then I began to develop myself professionally by finding ways to get involved in different organizations, finding a mentor in my field to kind of help guide me as to how to grow in the profession. And so I began to see opportunities. This is actually my fifth university. My fifth university right now, and so I've been able to learn from each place that I've been, and so it's been a blessing. You know what I mean? And so I'm excited about where I am. But what I would say the biggest thing of all is finding your passion, because there's people, right, that go to work every day, and don't enjoy what they do. You know what I mean? And so that begins to affect your quality of life, and passion is going to allow you to put your best foot forward every day. And so I always say that if I'm unable to work with young people, unable to build relationships, then this work is not for me. But because I understand that's my passion, you know what I mean? It allows me to put my best foot forward and allows me to do my best work. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. That's good. There's a couple different nuggets in there. One is you got to surround yourself with people who can help you out. You mentioned, without really mentioning, the network and the power in building your network, putting yourself in these organizations and in these circles of people who can really pour into you and help you to bring to fruition the things that you want in your life.
Absolutely.
In addition to that, it's knowing what it is that you want to do, being passionate about the work that you're doing every day. So now my follow-up question to you is, how did you find out that your passion was people? How did you find out? Was it just, trial and error, just working there and just seeing it? What was that?
I think that's a great question. I think a part of it is, just where I come from. I've had so many different experiences. And so a part of it is just, my father was in the military. So we traveled, we traveled around the world, you know what I mean? And so in terms of diversity, I've had the opportunity to meet people from different parts of the world and make those connections. And I think that my passion for people really comes from one, probably my family, my parents, because they just love people. So that was just a part of it for me. But the other part of it was in college, I just was always the person that always enjoyed making connections. You know what I mean? Making connections. I'm the person that when there's a networking event, I'm trying to get to everybody in the room. And, and I think it's just because I enjoy seeing people succeed. You know what I mean? And so
Mhm.
I want to be, that's what I want my life to be about. And so about the impact of being a blessing to somebody. And so I think that, it's just a part of who I am.
Very okay. I like that. I like that. So I think the main thing that you guys can get from that is exposure. So you need to expose yourself to different people, different settings, just different things, and that'll really give you the experience so that you know what you're passionate about. Because sometimes you're gonna come across people that say, I don't know how to find my passion. I don't know what I really like or what I want to do, which is why they're in positions that they're not happy or fulfilled with. So you need to get out of your comfort zone and experience some things, and that exposure will help you figure it all out. So Mr. Miller, did I lose you?
Yeah, I'm still here. Are you still there?
Okay, I can hear you now.
You can hear me? Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So what do you think some of the parents should do to prepare their children for college?
Well, I think a few things. I think that a large part of it is, I don't know if it's the parent preparation or the student preparation. I think that there are different parts of it. I think a part of it is, I'll start with um, the high school and guidance counselors. I think that
Okay.
I think that the parents need to um, be aware of what the students are receiving from the guidance counselors. I think that there
Okay.
has to be a more intentional effort of putting students in the right situations in terms of colleges to succeed. Um, I think that parents need to understand that sometimes the larger schools are not the best schools uh, for their children.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, and that's not a knock on larger schools, because I think they're great, but I think that some students learn better in smaller environments. Some students learn better in places where they're able to make one-on-one connections. And so I think that when they're looking at college and so forth, I think parents need to be hands-on in terms of providing guidance and counsel regarding the schools that their children are looking into. The reality of it is that some students um, can fit in at the larger schools. I think it's really about
Mm-hmm.
understanding the individual. The next thing I would say is also, you have so many times you have students who want to go to certain schools and they don't even have their area of interest. They don't even have their major. And so that's the beginning of a recipe for disaster. And so parents need to be
Mm-hmm.
intentional about guiding students um, in a matter in terms of, what are you interested in? Why are you interested in those things? Uh, this program, I think, more so being intentional about the research, helping their children research where they're going and their areas of interest. I think that really will help in terms of choosing universities and colleges. I also share too that one of the things that often scare students from going to college is test scores. All
Mm-hmm.
students, sometimes the test scores aren't the best, and that's okay. I don't believe that test scores determine whether a student should be able to uh, go to college or not. There's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of opportunities out there for students to get into different universities, and so I think the key is once a student gets into a university, is being able to have guidance, through that freshman year, to help them matriculate towards graduation. And so that's what I would share.
Okay. Okay. So parents, we need to know our children. We need to know their strengths and their areas of opportunity so that we can guide them into a direction that is in their best interest. So last week I shared, whenever we were talking about the path of STEM, I shared that, you know, sometimes there are children who they want to go to these large colleges because of the name that's associated with them, and they want to major in things that are going to yield them probably like $40,000 a year when the school costs
Right.
$25,000 a year. And I
Right.
don't think that that's a good idea, because, you know, earlier you said whenever you're starting school and you don't know what your area of interest is, that's a recipe for a disaster. I also think it's a recipe for disaster when you want to major in something that does not yield high incomes and you're going into a lot of debt. So I think
Absolutely.
that yeah, I think there's a lot of things that we have to think about as parents. Now, my next question to you is, for a parent who may not know all of the questions to ask, the guidance counselor should be the best person, I'm assuming, for them to team up with.
So it's a
What's
few parts. That's a few parts. That's a great question, because there are a few parts to it. You have that, and you also have the financial piece. I think that if there are areas or schools that a student may be interested in, my suggestion would be to get connected with the admissions office before the student comes to the university. So say a student is interested in coming to Morris College, right? My suggestion would be for the parent to connect with the admissions office and have some one-on-one conversation about the admission process, but also one-on-one conversation about financials. Because when you start talking about financials and how much it is for students to go to school and that type of thing, those things affect the parent as well. And so I think parents have to be more intentional about having those one-on-one conversations. And I would say have those conversations when it's not an open house. You know, go up there on a day when they're not expecting anyone and have those conversations. Those are the moments where you can get the one-on-one help that you need and have somebody to walk you through the process in its entirety. And so that will help out more. So really, in a nutshell, just being intentional about making sure that they understand the process as parents, and also too that the student understands what they need ahead of time.
Very good points. So parents, if there are questions that you have, or if you don't even know what questions to have, it's good for you to start doing some research, to start surrounding yourself with people who can help you and to direct you, and start connecting yourself with the schools that your child may be interested in. Because we don't want to go into things blindly. We don't want to say we're going to figure it out tomorrow. You know, we'll worry about tomorrow. No, we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we go into these situations prepared, so that when our children graduate, they graduate into a fruitful situation. So I did read that you were recognized in the magazine Diverse Issues in Higher Education.
Right.
And it looked like whenever it was kind of random, or you didn't know that it was going to happen or something. So
right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So I was actually sitting in my office one day, and I generally read the Diverse magazine every month when it comes in. And this particular month, I had no idea that I was in the magazine. So I was just scrolling through the book, and on page 27 of the January edition of Diverse, they had me on the page, and they were sharing that I just had started at Tuskegee University. I think for me, it was an amazing moment, only because I think for me, I'm still growing in this profession. You know what I mean? Although I'm passionate about what I do, you know, when I looked and seen who was on the page with me, it kind of had me startled. You know what I mean? And so I think for me, it was just a blessing to see, I guess, maybe that hard work does pay off, and that the things that you do every day is not in vain. And so it was a blessing to really see that. Yeah.
Nice. Congratulations for that. I know you felt awesome yourself in the folds of that magazine. I know I would be turned if I saw myself in the folds of magazine. So congratulations for that. What do you think is a separator from you and your peers who may have not been in that magazine? What do you think sets you apart?
I think it's a few things, and I'm not really sure, but it could be, I think that one, Tuskegee is an amazing university. Right now, it's the #4 ranked HBCU in the country, and so I think that may have something to do with it. But I also think that the level of the position, maybe at the age that I am, may have something to do with it as well. And so I'm not 100% sure. What I will say though is that hard work does pay off, and I'm beginning to see some of the fruits of my labor, and it just only pushes me to work even harder. And so I share that with you and everybody else that's on, is that the grind of of working to be successful and trying to be as great as you can, it is a grind, but it's worth it. It's worth it. And so I just encourage encourage anybody out there that's working towards moving up the ladder or working towards whatever it may be, is to continue the grind, and it will pay off. And so that's what I'll say.
I like that. I like that. Continue the grind. The hard work pays off. I'm going to be sure to share this video with the children that I mentor so they can see that, it's a continual thing. Even as you get older, once you graduate high school, you graduate college, you still have to continue to put forth the hard work. And you really are building the foundation in school, primary school. So I really want them to see this video and see just how important to work hard consistently every single day. You need to work hard and put forth that effort. Is there anything that you feel like is essential to a child's success? Now, let's talk to K through 12. I know you working in college, but you spent a year at K through 12. So give us something to the parents who are still there. Give us something that you feel like is essential to their child's success.
I think that from an academic standpoint, I'll share that first. I think one thing that's essential is engagement. Engagement. I think that it's important, K through 12, for students to be involved, for students to be involved in academic activity, but also involved in social activity. One of the things I'm finding out now, K through 12. So I share K through 12, and I'll go to college for a second and come back down to K through 12. That students in K through 12 transition into to higher ed, to college. The ones that are more engaged are the ones that are generally, more sociable when they come to college. The ones that generally have less problems making connections in that freshman year. But I think that engagement is super important in K through 12. Getting them involved in, in activities. I also say another thing that's really, really important is reading. I know it sounds, it sounds like simple, but no, reading is super, super important. I would encourage parents to have your child, put your child on a reading schedule. Your child should be reading X amount of books in X amount of time. Whatever the child's reading may be on, I think that's important. What happens is the more students read, the more their mind is stimulated. Their mind is stimulated. Their minds are able to see past, what they do every day, because reading books takes their mind to a new place. You know what I mean? And so it's education. You know what I mean? So I think engagement is super important. And also engagement, reading books, and just being involved in as much as possible. I would even say in terms of athletics, like team building stuff, those things are part of a child's development, and it makes a difference when they begin to grow and make connections with other students. Last thing I'll say about K through 12 is diversity. I think it's important for students to be connected in groups that have people that look differently from them, that come from different backgrounds, that do different things. I would even say one of the things that's important is from a diversity standpoint is having students do things that they may not do normally. You know what I mean? And so, for example, I'll be brief here. But for example, like when I was over the College for African American Men at Virginia Union University, many of our young men had never gone to the symphony, right? So we took our guys to the symphony. Many of our young men had never went to play golf before, so we took our guys to the golf range. Many of our young men never went to a playwright. You know what I mean? And so those things were enjoyable for the young men because they never done it before. But it was an opportunity for them to be in a place that helped them to see that, you know, I really enjoy this type of thing. Now I'm making connections with people that I never thought I would have made connections with. So that's what I'll share.
Okay. So really pushing themselves outside of their comfort zone, going right back to that exposure, that connection, building that network. So what would you say to the parent of a shy child? So I'm shy. So it's hard for me to make those connections. Engagement is important, but I'm shy. How do I step outside of that? How do I overcome that?
I think it's a few things. I think that everybody is different, but I think you find what the child's interest is, you know, because every child has an interest, you know. It's all about finding what that interest is. Once you find that interest, you do things around the interest, you know. Okay. And I think around the interest, what you do is whatever it may be. Okay, so you find the interest, and then so Johnny, I'm just going to use Johnny. So Johnny has an interest in, you know, maybe it's reading. I'm just going to say reading books, right? So Johnny has an interest in reading books, but what you do is you invite. So the parent has friends, and the parent's friend has children. So the parent invites Sarah and Travis. Sarah and Travis over, right? And so we're gonna have a reading book party. So what you do is you bring it. You have some food. You find out what Johnny's favorite food is. So it's pizza, right? So the other two kids, they come over and they read books. What begins to happen is, as you know, what begins to happen is that although they're reading books, they're in the same space. They're eating Johnny's favorite food. And then there begins to be a connection there that says, okay, well, maybe Travis and Sarah, maybe they're pretty cool, right? And so what happens is that now they begin to be friends. And then Johnny begins to become interested in what Sarah and Travis like to do because of the relationship. And so I think that, again, it's about being creative. You know, K through 12, I mean, same thing with higher ed, but it's about being creative and finding interest and finding what they're passionate about, finding things that they enjoy, and begin to slowly but surely put people around them that enjoy what they do as well. And then the next thing you know, Johnny is not shy anymore. You know, I mean, it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. But I think as educators, right, we have to be really engaged, intentional, and really try to find the ways to get Johnny out of his shell. And I think that's what educators have to be about. So yeah.
I like that. I like that. So parents, remember, if you're the parent of a shy child, you need to have a reading party with pizza and invite some of your girlfriends and the kids over. You guys get together, have a reading party. Then before you know it, Johnny and Sarah and Travis are homies, and he's not shy anymore eventually. So I think that's a great plan. I think I might share that. I think that's a really good plan. So thank you so much. Before you go, is there anything that you want to leave the viewers with in terms of, you know, things that you wish you have known sooner as you've gone on your journey?
Well, I'll leave you all with this. I'll say passion, preparation, and embracing the process are the three things that kind of guide my life, really. You know, I'll say this, that as a student, whether you K through 12 or whether you're in college, the sooner you can find your passion, the sooner you can begin to prepare yourself for whatever it is you're going to do. You know what I mean? And so for me, I wish that I had found my passion, you know, my freshman year. Like my freshman year, of college. I may be further along now, you know, have no regrets, but I would just share, find out what you're passionate about. Because when you find out what you're passionate about, it's going to push you to work hard and get to the top of, you know, whatever field or whatever you're trying to do. And so passion is the first thing. Preparation. So in your passion, passion means nothing without preparation. Just like potential means nothing without preparation. So you got to have your passion. Your passion is going to push you to prepare because you're passionate about it. And so after you prepare, you then have to embrace the process. Now, in embracing the process, you're going to have some challenges. You're going to have some bumps in the road. You're going to have some ups and downs. But the thing that pushes me to keep going is knowing that if I keep going and when I keep going, that I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. You know what I mean? And so I think that if I can leave anything, it would be work now to find your passion. Last thing too is that making money is great. Making money is great, but it's not that important if you don't enjoy doing what you're doing every day. And I always say this too, that in your passion, if you go after your passion with everything that you got, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's higher education, no matter what it is, the money will come. If you stick with it, the money will come. I promise you that. And so, yeah, I'll just leave you out with that.
I think that's excellent. Passion, preparation, and embracing the journey. Passion, preparation, and embracing the journey. And I think that is, I think that's applicable even for our children. Find something that you're passionate about. Prepare for it every single day. Prepare for your test. Prepare for whatever your objectives are in the classroom, right? And embrace the journey. Embrace the fact that you got to get up early and go to school. Embrace the fact that you got to do your homework. Embrace the fact that you need to listen to your teachers and follow direction, right? Because all part of the journey to get you to that eventual goal. So I'm going to write that down too as soon as we get off. Thank you so much, Mr. Miller, for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. I hope that everybody enjoyed it. I hope that everybody was able to get some nuggets. You know how I do. Whenever I have somebody up here, I will type in the nuggets in the bottom of the video. Everything that I got from the video, I'm going to share with you guys, just in case you came on late and you missed it from the beginning. But you know how these videos are. You have the option to replay. And after tonight, I will upload it to YouTube. So it's always going to be here in case you guys need a reminder that find what you're passionate about, prepare for it every day, and embrace the journey along the way. Again, Mr. Miller, thank you so much for having you on. And I hope that you have a good evening. Thank everybody for joining us. And you guys have a good night.
Have a good night. Thank you.